As caregivers, we wear so many different hats, but what if you didn't have to? With Hero Generation, you can organize appointments, track medications, coordinate with family members all in one place. So instead of those endless group texts trying to find details, you can simply assign a task. Need to remember a medication change? Save it directly to your loved one's profile, and the whole family has that information. Caregiving isn't easy, but we're here to make it a little bit easier. You can try Hero Generation for free at herogen.co. As a caregiver, I have found that we need breaks too, but having our loved one sit in front of a regular TV only really can make them more anxious and confused. What I have found about Zinnia TV is that their videos are designed specifically for people living with dementia and also their caregivers. They are calming, engaging, and free of the overstimulation that typical TV brings. And now, when as a caregiver we can step away from a moment, we know that our loved ones are content, they're peaceful, and they're watching familiar activities that bring them comfort. So, Zinnia TV is not just for our loved one, it's for us too. Visit zinniatv.com. We invite you to use the code GATHER20 for 20% off an annual subscription. This week, I'm sitting down with Norman Harris, a passionate advocate and healthcare leader who's changing the way we think about caregiving. From his early days volunteering in nursing homes to founding Comfort Measures Consulting, he has made it his mission to empower caregivers and aging adults with support, advocacy, and a little bit of joy along the way. In this episode, we talk about why healthcare workers should be the new celebrities, how to inject more compassion and fun into caregiving, and the role of advocacy in aging well. If you felt overwhelmed about the complexities of care and just want to hear a fresh, inspiring take, this episode is for you. Here is my interview with Norman Harris. Norman, I don't think I've ever recorded on a Saturday before. So, welcome. This is
Ooh,
a big deal. I got my coffee.
yeah,
Thank
yes.
you for being here.
Wow. Man, that makes me feel good and bad at the same time, Nicole.
No,
Oh,
don't feel bad.
geez.
Don't feel bad. This is
Mm.
great. I love it.
Well, thank you for making the change for me. I will be a legendary guest for that reason alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll never forget that, but for many reasons. For
Yes,
many
yes,
reasons.
thank you.
I'm excited to get to know your story and have our audience to get to know who you are. You've got such a bright light and energy that you bring to this space. So, your experience, it spans healthcare leadership, advocacy for caregivers. What inspired you to get into this field, become a champion for the work that you're doing and making this more exciting for us in this space?
That's a good question. Well, thank you for having me first off on the show because it's a major accomplishment for me
Mm,
with me just really starting out. So you give me a great opportunity. So I'm very appreciative of that. What
so,
inspired me really was wanting to become a leader. Just and it's honestly, I'm a simple kind of man. You know the song, right?
mhm.
So for me, I'm just gonna be honest. I went to school. I believe in school is an investment in your right your future. So some people get in debt for that, right? In my mind, I believe that I wanted to always become one a business owner, but also a leader. But hey, if I invested in something, I want to reap the benefits of it. To be honest. Um, However, the space of caregiving came along from a cousin of mine. He presented the opportunity of being a nursing home administrator,
Mm,
and when I thought about the situation at the time that was in, I was working at MetLife. Basically, most of my jobs at that point in time was none of them was customer service facing. So nothing was customer facing basically. All of my jobs were virtual or via phone call. So and I wanted to see the impact of my daily tasks, of my daily work, and what I was doing, and I wanted to make an impact on the community. So nursing home administrator uh, was presented to me, and I took that route because it was one of the only career paths, and you can research this. It's one of the only career paths where you can go from being, I guess, uh, regular management level, regular employee to a management level, and be actually a leader of an organization. So it's one of the only career paths that you can do that. So when I investigated, did my education, I really started. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this serious and I'm gonna put it all for it because I get an opportunity to help people, but also do something that I always dreamed of, which
Yeah.
was being a leader of individuals. So that's really came, and I wanted to be a different leader. That's what really inspired me, being a different leader. I had, at that time, had different type of management styles that I had worked with, right? That didn't, really align with, my type of personality. And I was
Mhm.
like, and I would learn from each and every step of the way, just learning like, okay, this is how I believe you should treat people. This is how you should approach people. And I said I would never, do some of those things that I had
Mm.
experienced. So that was
Yeah.
my motivation.
So good. And it is that role is so impactful because you're touching many different um, groups of people in terms of even their involvement in the nursing home, right? From frontline care team to people that are more administrative. So it's such this like cohesive way to impact and be a leader of so many different types of people and so many different types of positions. You've really got to like fine tune all of those leadership skills. And to your point,
Oh yeah.
do it in a different way. Yeah, do it in a different way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, but that's really was the start of my beginning in healthcare, actively in the
Mm.
field. So
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
And then it's led to some different opportunities and what you're doing now, which is super cool because you've got, a couple different things happening. Tell us what that is.
Right. So this year, June 30th, I launched Comfort Measures Consulting, which is a healthcare uh, resource platform, as I like to call it. It really encompasses many of the things that I saw out in the industry that was the area of need, right? They say if you start a business, find a need and answer that need.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to do. At 16 years old, my goal was always to be a business owner, to own my own business. My grandfather owned multiple businesses in the city where I'm from, Quincy, Florida. So that
Mm.
inspired me from afar to wanting to do the same thing. Um, and I took that role when I turned 35 years old. I said, "There's no more talking, right? What are you going to do? You have to put action. You have to take risks." And my first endeavor was an event space. So I did a
Mm.
cohort. I was going to, open up an event space to throw birthday parties and, things of that nature. And that didn't work out. So I honestly started seeking God, and I said, God, I'm not a man of risk. I'm not a man of about losing money, so to
Mhm.
speak. So
Right.
I wanted my next endeavor to be led and guided by Him.
Mm.
And so I prayed for weeks on just, next steps, next options, because I didn't want that first opportunity to be the end of my, entrepreneur spirit. And December of 2023, he started giving me the vision of Comfort Measures Consulting. And at first, it started out with seeing placement, with assisting families, with finding the best place for their loved ones,
Mhm.
whether it's assisted living facility or skilled nursing facilities. And started doing my research on it. I was like, oh, this is actually a business. There's agencies out there, businesses out there that does this. I didn't even know about it. And I learned from there, and I included that into Comfort Measures Consulting.
Yeah.
In my career path, I teach, I educate as an administrator. I also work in business development with hospice. So I was
Mm.
able to have that hands-on contact more with families that are going through those end of life stages.
Mhm.
So that inspired me to say, hey, if I'm speaking to families, I'm speaking to residents at assisted living facilities, I'm doing educations. Why not look into keynote speaking? And I
Yeah.
learned that, wow, keynote speaking, that's a big business, And
Mhm.
so I said, I'm going to include that in comfort measures consulting. But the one piece that sort of embodies the mission of empowering people with the knowledge and resources to age comfortably was providing that resource, providing that information. And the thing that I could not get out of my head was podcasting.
Mhm.
I said a healthcare podcast, but at the same time, I had this other side of my brain saying nobody's gonna watch a healthcare podcast. Just being honest. I'm like, so I'm battling with that, and I start researching people like yourself,
Mhm.
people like Melanie Hand, Aaron Thompson. I start
Mhm.
researching individuals like that to give myself hope. And outside of hope, I said, let me reach out to them and see if they will help me
Yeah.
because the keynote speaking piece, the senior living placement piece, it never just came to my mind the way that podcasting did.
Mhm.
And my mom used to always tell me like something keep coming to your mind. You never know, it could be God.
Right.
It could be something. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot and I'm going to try it. And the blessings that God has put in path for me, the podcast piece, and just the business in general. I've just been meeting people along the way that have just been really good about lending a helping hand to me free of charge. People
Mhm.
charge for their time nowadays.
I
You know what I
know.
mean?
I
Which
know.
which I which I understand, which I totally
Yeah.
understand. But and that's really how I started Confirmation Consulting. I embodied my education, my experiences, and my passion for
Mhm.
helping people. And based on a need that I saw when working in a as a skilled nursing administrator, dealing with those families and just how people aren't prepared, right, for that next phase of life when they're no longer able to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
I call it the third tier of life. Working in hospice when family members calling and crying and needing that additional shoulder to lean on because they've never been in this situation before. Um, so that's what I I open the door for in the healthcare navigation, so that
Mhm.
families can give me a call to have that supportive guidance. Somebody's gonna give them real answers, right?
Yeah.
Shorter. I call it my preceptor actually. He used to call it shortcut the process. So you call confirmation consultant. I aim to shortcut the process and take out the guesswork for you,
Mhm.
and to help families like that. So, and I'm
Yeah.
helping families in the way that I desire to do it. So,
Right. 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 Such you're feeling such a need and your heart really comes out in that. And we know with all of your experience, you really understand the needs of the families and the older adults,
mm,
what their questions are. And I think you bring such a unique perspective with like your lived experience and where
yeah,
where you live and like what's happening in that area that's like very important. And I think we need that. And so many families that is their number one frustration and concern is, I just don't even know where to start. I don't know what to do, and having
yeah,
someone be able to guide them in that. So super appreciative of that. And with
thank you.
your podcast, what are the different topics that you're covering? What can people expect when they go and they listen? What are they going to experience?
All right. Well, I call myself your favorite black bearded bald guy.
Hmm.
My branding, my branding marketing person, he thought that would be cool to indicate that because in the healthcare space, just
Hmm.
from my experience, I haven't been doing this very long. I can just say that about 5 years overall, 4 to 5 years, and I haven't ran into many people that look like me. I want it to be a representation, but a welcoming representation. That funny person because that's really my personality.
Hmm.
And with the podcast, I said, how do you combine education with entertainment? Because
Mhm.
I believe in people's individuals' leisure time, they're going to watch drama. They're going to watch something that's going to make them laugh. I
Mhm.
do the same thing, so I'm no better than anyone else. I want to
Or
laugh. So right, but I said I wanted a form that where I could do this a long time
yeah.
because I like meeting people. That encompasses who I am. And throughout all the work with doing the podcast, I'm not tired. Like
Mhm.
setting up and all those things, like all the research. Like I enjoy doing that, and I enjoy learning about other people. And I say, you know what, the information out there that people like Nicole Will, people like different CEOs or COOs, every
Mhm.
day people don't have access to that,
Yeah.
right? They don't have access to their journey and the knowledge that they have obtained through that process. And I said,
Mhm.
why can't we have a platform to educate people, right? And I call it Florida's number one edutainment station, right? Where
Uh,
we can entertain them and say, the CEO of Baycare Hospital is, yes, he likes riding bikes.
mm,
He's a normal person, right?
mm.
He does the
Yes.
same things you and I do, right? He's relatable as well, but also he has a wealth of knowledge that he can share to assist you, in whatever case you may be going through, navigating the complexities of healthcare. And
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to do is one bring celebrity to the healthcare heroes because during the
Mhm.
pandemic, what they coined that phrase, healthcare heroes,
Yeah.
right? So I wanted to praise people that really put, their time, sacrificing their families, 12-hour shifts,
Mhm.
overtime to care. Because one thing the pandemic showed us was those essential industries. And we
Yeah.
found out that healthcare is definitely an essential industry. So I
Mhm.
speak to people from senior living communities, doctors, wound care physicians, from individuals that have their own home care, private duty home care services,
Mhm.
individuals, ALF owners. Like
Mhm.
what interests them to start that path? So, and a
Yeah.
lot of these thought leaders, they share a wealth of knowledge. And I sometimes my producers, right, that I have helped me shoot, they're sitting back and I'm watching their faces, and that sort of is my gauge. Like, okay, this is an engaging,
That's
you
so
know,
cool.
engage.
Yeah. They're like,
Yeah,
they're loving
hmm
this. Okay.
right. Yeah, right, right. So, because it's a lot of information that people don't know. So, and that's what I wanted to share. And honestly, it's just been embracing. This is my third podcast platform, and this wasn't a part of my plan. I never thought these like the number of opportunities I've had so
Mhm.
far would have come this fast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm so thankful you're in this space. And when you were talking about how you don't run into people that look like you in this world of, education, and that's not to say that there isn't that presence, but we
right,
do
yeah, yeah, for
we
sure.
do know, even from what I've witnessed in this space, that we need more of that representation and more of your voice and
Mhm.
your lived experience to be able to really share and relate to um uh, the people that need that. So
Right, yeah.
I think I'm proud of you for stepping into that. And it is, when you do something new, when you've never done it before, it's always
Ooh,
uncomfortable.
oh man, you
No,
are hitting this spot. Yeah.
yes, so many things that it's like, oh, I gotta now figure this out, or how do I
Mm,
do this? So keep going. You're doing that. You're doing the work of just showing up and continuing to encourage people and have these hard conversations and give people a platform. And I promise you, from what I've seen, really, the fact that you've now positioned yourself in this place, you will be so overwhelmed and thankful for all of the goodness that's going to come your way. I promise you, because it does.
thank
It
you.
comes, and just being able to, yeah, have your voice. And I'm a part of an organization also called Think Tank. And our theme this year is Light the Way. And just to speak a little to that, it's like you if we're a lighthouse for people, right? And we shine our light and like what you're doing and shining your light on the voice that you have, other people will find you. And if we're not shining our light and if we're not being seen, then no one is going to know the message that we have to share in our heart. So,
That is,
yeah.
wow, that is absolutely amazing, Nicole, because you're talking to someone, Nicole, and I know, well, this is for everybody. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna live my truth on this one. So I didn't have like social media for years, like no Facebook. My social media was LinkedIn because I was all about like the mission of becoming somebody, so to speak,
Mhm.
with air quotes. And I wanted to connect with professionals that could help me with that. I didn't care about like the whole entertainment thing. That was never me. That's not my personality. But I
Mhm.
understood to operate a business and to help people effectively out in the community, I had to have that social presence. So
Mhm.
going into what you just said, getting out of your comfort zone, doing videos and posting about different topics that I do. Like I don't know if people can tell, but I'm brand new, like literally brand new with doing those things. So it's a growth process for me. So any feedback, like you just said, I'm always thankful for it. And that's why I don't know. I know you probably used to laugh or smile and thought it was kind of me, but I really mean it like from the bottom of my heart. Like you taking the time to speak with me. And we're doing this now, but we met several months ago. Like
Mhm.
you've had multiple calls with me, free, free calls. I keep saying free, I'm sorry. But
Mhm. Thank you.
um, just to share your thoughts with me. Let me bounce ideas off of you and give me a direction. Like you don't know how many people that I messaged that didn't respond back.
Mhm.
You don't know how many calls that I made that didn't get answered or didn't get returned. So I value people giving me an opportunity and a chance because one, if you dealt with self confidence like I did in the past and depression, things like that, it's like a risk,
Yeah.
to reach out to someone and not be received. So
Right.
those are the things that it's a challenge for me. So all of this is new, and that's why I proceed with an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
I used to attitude of gratitude.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And I had people along the way for me that gave me time and their wisdom. So, being able to do that is important, right? Because I think we need each other. And, do we have the
Mm-hmm.
capacity to do it for everybody? No, but I think you just kind of know when you're stepping into things and that it's the right fit at the right time. So, yeah. Keep going, keep going. Well, I want
No,
people to really hear your perspective because when we've talked before, we've had some fun conversations around caregiving, healthcare motivation, all of that. So, diving into that a little bit today. And from your work, how do you find that caregivers can stay motivated, right? I mean, we've got so many responsibilities. You've seen people work in the healthcare system. What for you do you see are some of those factors that help with that?
help caregivers stay motivated.
Yeah.
Being involved, being
Mm.
involved. That's
Mhm.
the number one thing, and that's something that, again, this is something I just realized myself, and I started encouraging it with throughout the last year. To be honest, being involved and active, like the amount of connections that you make, you never know who God will put in the path by
Mhm.
you stepping out on faith, by you going to an event where you was going to stay home in your bed, laying down, go to
Mhm.
sleep. You tired, right? You tired, you sleepy, and you say, no, I don't want to go to that event, that networking event, or I don't want to go to that caregivers support group today. I don't
Mhm.
feel like going. But you had it on your calendar. You did try,
Yeah.
right? But you
Yeah.
just, at the last minute, you change your mind not going. But by stepping out on faith and going to that event, you meet Dr. Such and Such who's going through a similar situation from you and that you, right? Dr. Such and Such actually owns a psychology practice. He's willing to give you sessions for free, first three sets. So I
Mm,
just made that situation up.
yep.
But
Yep.
that's what type of blessings God will put in the path by you stepping out on faith and actually doing the work. So
Mm,
I can just tell people like, um, just being involved in your local chambers of commerce,
mm,
being involved in the Kiwanis Club. I'm not sure if I think every state should have it. Kiwanis
yeah.
Club, those type of things like that. You meet so many people that have similar journeys, and you formalize your own support group, almost like mentors, right?
Mm,
People that you can learn from, be under their tutelage that can encourage and support you.
mhm.
Same thing with myself with podcasting. I reached out and I understood the value of having mentors, people that
Yeah.
can encourage you along the way. So stepping out of your normal day to day routine and say, hey, this week I'm going to go for a walk with Susan. She's been asking me, my neighbor Susan, been
Mhm.
asking me to go for a walk with her once a week. I'm going to do it. And just from that conversation from a neighbor or from whomever that is asking you to do something, you never know the blessings that can come from it. So
Yeah.
I would say that's a big part of it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we've chatted, we've had conversation around why is healthcare not super cool and fun? Or maybe I don't know if that's
Mm-hmm.
the right term, but wanting to
Nope.
infuse more more of that fun and having it looked at as, what an incredible industry. We get to do so many great things. So, how can we interject more of that joy and that energy? It's often seen as maybe challenging or burdensome, but how do we shift that so that we can bring out the cool and the fun?
I'm working on that factor in itself because again, I just started out right, so I'm like, okay, what I don't want to be blackballed. Um, so let me make sure I'm doing things that are in align with, because I still need an everyday job. To be honest with you, I
Absolutely.
still need to work.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? I'm gonna put out like as of March, but you probably go back through my social media. Probably
Mhm.
March of this year, 2024. That's when I really began to showcase or display what I do in the community.
Mhm.
Before then, I was doing a lot of things, with my job or with the church, but I never would showcase it. And I said, why not? People showcase everything else in the room, but
Mhm.
why can't an individual like myself, like Nicole Will, why we can't be celebrated? Why we can't showcase what we do, and why isn't it cool? Right?
Mhm.
Why is healthcare so, in my eyes, just stringent? You're right. We can bring cool. It's fun. We have fun. We laugh at work. In the
Yeah.
skilled nursing facilities, there's so many different things that we laugh
Yeah.
at and joke about.
Right.
But I know there's HIPAA laws and regulations and
Mhm.
compliances that we can't, that, you really can't blur that line because you would put, the facility or organization at a financial risk.
Mhm.
But there are so many other ways to have fun, and I want to infuse that back because we are responsible for the joy, right, and care of other individuals. I always believe that in an organization, if you treat your employees right, that's gonna shift on to the customer. So
Mhm.
if we can't be infused with joy, happiness, peace, how are we gonna infuse that on in our care practices?
Yeah.
And so I said, we're going to start showcasing that. We're going to start promoting it. And I did it by myself by not promoting me. I
Mhm.
started the podcast to promote others, to champion others. And it's
Mhm.
amazing how many phone calls when I call someone and say, hey, I would love to have you on the show. They say, really? Me? I've never done it before. Like, wow, thank you so much, Norm. I say, yeah, you are
Wow.
the new celebrity.
Yeah.
You're the new celebrity now. Yeah, we're gonna make you a celebrity. And so when I hype up my shows, when I put out my YouTube shorts, when I put out my Flashback Fridays, when I put out those are the showcase that the guests on the show
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I want to highlight you. That's my goal to highlight you as an individual that worked through your career to become a COO of whatever said healthcare organization, and that's cool. That's dope.
That is so
you know what
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, and the mission of highlighting and championing others, that is what I believe being in leadership is about, right? Like we're in service to others to inspire and to grow other leaders and other people that can continue to share their purpose and their mission with other
Yeah.
people, right? So it's that ripple effect. And when we take it off of ourselves, and even for myself, uh, I think people might not assume this, but I'm actually probably more, I don't know if shy is the word, but I don't like things to necessarily, I don't want to be the center of attention, basically.
I can
But
believe that.
yeah.
Just with talking with you, I can believe that.
Yeah. But how I do my work being more public facing is my view of it is that I get to be the conduit to celebrate and championing other people's work. So then if I'm elevating and amplifying their initiatives, that is so cool for me because I'm like, okay, this is awesome. It's not about me, it's about the work and it's
Yeah.
about, the person. So for anyone listening,
Hmm.
if we do have more of that um struggle to put ourselves out there, that it can be done in ways that work, right? Because some people really do want to be in those spaces and I am
Right.
in the sense of yes, I do speaking and I'm out there, but I would say having it viewed from the lens of this is my in service of others, right? And in service of the work and
Hmm.
the impact that we're making. So yeah, I love that. I relate to that for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's and going off of this piggybacking on what you just said. As
Mhm.
a nursing home administrator, one thing I learned, and I learned this from other mentors as well, you can know every regulation in the book.
Mm,
Uh, skilled nursing industry is one of the highest regulated industries in the entire U.S. So
mhm,
you can know every regulation, but if you don't have a good team, all that knowledge is honestly is useless. You have to have a good team to be successful in skill and really in any organization, major organization like that.
right.
So just attributing that fact to what you just said, I took pride in empowering others. I took pride in saying, "Hey, you're good at this. I'm not. You know what? You do it better than me. Go
Yeah.
ahead. You have it. We can take what you're saying and we can do it. It doesn't have to be Norman's way or the highway. We're a
Mm,
team." And
mhm.
but yep. So I just wanted to state that fact.
No, that's so good. Yeah. Well, you had talked about also looking at healthcare workers as the new celebrities, quote unquote. What do you mean by that? And how is that going to change how we view the healthcare profession?
Well, I want to start the trend. Maybe I need to start a hashtag new celebrity or something.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think it'll impact people just for in our industry in the community to see that there's another way to be successful in the world. And I know a lot of people like to do like real estate. People
Mm,
start their own businesses, but I look at it from a high level of like movie stars and people that we really idolize, right?
mhm,
And I believe that the CEO of whatever said organization took that's a long route. That's a hard route to go to in a lot of cases, right? So why those people can't be celebrated? And that's
mhm.
really what I'm doing. And so I like to coin it as the new celebrity.
Yeah.
Because they should feel pride in what they do. They should feel it because it's a lot of sacrifices and there's a lot of sacrifice away from your families. A lot of
Yeah.
football games, a lot of the executives miss. Whether you're executive of a hospital, of a good nurse facility, it's time away from your family that you sacrifice. And
Yeah.
you should be celebrated for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we could extend that too to teachers. Um,
You're right. Yeah.
people that are in
Oh, yes.
city work, like
Well,
all
whoop.
where it's like, oh, all of those, gosh, yes,
Hmm.
service-based, mission-based types of careers.
Uh,
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're 100% correct. And like I said, the pandemic
Mhm.
showed us the essential industries. It really did. Like
Mhm.
you can't you need the people at Publix. I tell you that. You need the people at Walmart when you go there. You need those transporters, those drivers. Right? You need those things because how will the goods and services be provided and delivered? You don't have
Right.
those individuals. So teachers, and I always say I can't teach my kids every day.
Mm.
No,
Yeah.
I know that probably sounds bad for the podcast, but it's just honestly, like I couldn't teach them every subject.
Mm.
That's not my gift. That's not me. But
Yeah.
and those are the ones that are really fostering the growth of our children. So
Right. Right.
you're right. There's so many other champions in the world that can be celebrated for sure.
I know. I know. So, what from your position, how do you think we actually make this happen? Or what are some things we think that we can do?
Mm. By doing what you and I are doing right now,
Yeah.
by more people like you and I, because you live in Minnesota, I'm in
Mm.
Florida. I live in Florida, so this speaks volumes to that. If you ask me,
Yeah.
the fact that you, again, I keep saying this, but
Right.
gave me the time of day, to come on your platform and share, because this audience sharing, this is one thing that I watched when I started thinking about starting the podcast. When I did my research,
Mm.
audience sharing is major for our type of forum, and if we start having individuals that are from different states like you do already.
Mhm.
You're basically making that person the new celebrity, but we need more people to share this, right? If people would share this as much as they share a funny dance on TikTok, then what? We'll blow up, right?
Yeah.
So right. So it comes with consistency, right? It
Mm.
comes with being able to spread the word and finding like-minded individuals like you're already doing. So, and
Mhm.
that's why you've seen your growth. But I think by us continuing on the path that we're taking, we're going to learn different methods,
Yeah.
and different opportunities is going to come to us. But I
Mhm.
think the door that we have to open is the marketing and advertisement door for a lot of organizations in the industry, because you see the marketing dollars. I'm going to say it. The marketing dollars for different companies are spent at conferences or symposiums. They will spend that for those type of things, but you don't see it in forms like this, media's like ours. And I
Yeah.
think once that door is open, then you'll see the growth, right? Because
Right.
a lot of other platforms or areas of entertainment, such as like ESPN and sports, there's so
Mhm.
many other podcasters that have branched off that are doing right sports and entertainment, right? And they're actually getting brand deals. They're getting those things because why? They're being supported. So
Yeah.
it's elevating that, right? So now you're helping the celebrity in that said industry. So when
Mm.
we start getting that door open to actually be to help pop platforms like you and ours, we'll see the elevation of the new celebrity in healthcare be elevated the same way. But that's
Yeah.
just Norman's thoughts.
Yeah. No, completely. And there's more data coming out about um, thought leadership and creating more of a space. And so I was looking at some numbers, I actually just pulled it up. CEOs and other high level managers create thought leadership content in over 50% of companies. And 25% of thought leaders work with influencers and other opinion leaders in their industry to share their thought leadership. And so I think what we are seeing is that we have our leadership, we have our niche, we have our mission, we have our organization, but then we're extending that because we see the need to have the visibility and the impact. You have to be able to then have the attention in the audience. And so
Mhm.
more and more, we are seeing specifically, I think in healthcare, it's growing a little bit of who are those voices that are educating, sharing thought leadership. They were saying too, it's like, um, 47% of consumers say that thought leadership led them to discover and ultimately purchase or work with a company that was not considered to be among like the leader in their business category, but because of the thought leadership, it led them to then work with that organization, which I thought
Mm,
was incredibly impactful. So, um, there's a lot there. And I think for you and having the mission to really highlight healthcare workers in that way is, I believe, where we're headed, right? If it's done, and you were saying before, if it's done right with the credibility, with um with education, right? There has to be the substance to the information that we're sharing. But I think that having that be a part of it does impact older adults and caregivers. And like, how do you see that translating to actually really support them, right? Because we can like elevate them and have their mission out there, but then where do we see that translate to um really supporting the caregiver and the older adult?
mm. I see what you're saying. The knowledge can be out there, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But then where's the action? That's
Yeah.
so. One, I believe uh, resources have to be local and convenient.
Mhm.
Local and convenient. I think, and this is just me from my experience, if you make things more accessible and more convenient, people will be more prone to try it. So, but first we have to get to the accessibility, right, piece, and being able easily to actually try it. And I think by being, everyone has their phones, everyone has computers all the time, and
Mhm.
by being having those resources more accessible and in their face more often, if that's the case to put it, best way to put it, it will help with that next step. But
Mhm.
being active in the community and the churches actually opening up the doors to having different functions such as um, a long-term care planning seminars,
Mhm.
senior community centers, being more willing to partner with individuals that are maybe not work with the county, maybe not a part of, the event planning system, to actually partner with individuals on the, but that is happening. Those things does happen right now. Honestly, it
Right,
does.
right. Yeah.
Um, but I think that the forums, though, someone that has the following, I guess, to put it out there on a more consistent basis. It has
Right.
to be the right, because honestly, if you link, honestly, you start leaning with the right individuals that actually champion your mission. I mean, it can really turn things overnight. To be
Mhm.
honest with you, it's
Mhm.
just really honestly connecting with the right individual. But I think that making the knowledge and resources more accessible, that was the mission that I wanted to do, is
Mhm.
to make it where it's one click, or it's one, and I'm still building out my platforms and growing. But I think making things easily accessible, you'll see different ways where people actually start being showing more actionable attempts.
Yeah. Yeah. And you saw that need too, where people in your community, just those questions of, where do I move into a senior living community? And when you're a part of that,
Hmm.
you can really speak to different feedback that you've heard and what you've observed and how the reputation is in the community and things like that, which I think is so valuable.
Oh yes, yes. And speaking with different family members, you really understand that the conversation from parents to children, those
Mm.
conversations need to start happening sooner in regards to uh, long-term care planning, placement, those type of things, so
Mhm.
that their potential caregivers will be more prepared on, okay, we know mom wants to move into a assisted living facility when she gets to this state.
Mm,
So we need to start, planning, meet with the elder law attorney
mm,
to make sure we have the financial framework in place.
mhm.
Those conversations doesn't have to happen when mom's in the hospital,
Right.
or when mom discovered that she recently had this bad diagnosis or healthcare issue.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to happen at that time point, right?
Mhm.
It can happen way sooner than that. And I wanted to be a champion of preparing people for that stage in life and say, hey, let's have a conversation now. And that's me living my truth, even with my family, my parents. Right? I've
Yeah.
reached out and had calls with elder law attorneys to sort of help my parents through that process sooner. Like so, that's me applying the practice that I'm preaching to my own lifestyle. So
Yeah.
I really think that's a big piece for overall to help to see that change as well.
Absolutely. There's, I would say, this movement in highlighting the work that's being done in healthcare too. And part of that voice is also, uh, we tend as humans, we can have this like negativity bias. And so having that lens of, well, what's going well and what can we lean into and how can we celebrate that? I think is really important too, being able to have that. Um, and so for me, I'm just curious, is there like a moment or situation where you just saw just all the goodness kind of come together as you were working, whether it was like an administrator or supporting a family or it's just something that, yeah, we can just be encouraged by.
So it's an example of how I was able to assist a family member during their, I guess, end stage, right, of care.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hospice. One of my role was the business development, so I partnered with a lot of our local assisted living facilities and skilled nursing facilities to provide services via accident care. That's who I worked for at the time.
Hmm.
And I had the opportunity to speak with a particular family member that was lived in California, and the brother lived in Alabama, so it was the daughter. And they were in the position of commuting back and forth. The dad was having a slowly cognitive decline, but the mom was stage 4 cancer, and she was towards the end of life. So the thing, this is a great example of where having healthcare navigator, having someone to consult with out in the community is very beneficial. So what I
Mm-hmm.
did with this particular case, it was outside of my, work job description with accident care. But the daughter, she was like, okay, dad is telling me things, but it's not adding up. He's saying
Mm-hmm.
he's meeting with the VA or he's meeting with the physician, and it's just not adding up, Norman. And I need help because I can't commute back and forth to Florida from California. So I reached out to the VA for her, and I spoke with them, and I got some information I shared with her. So she was like, "That's the opposite of what he's telling me." And
Mm-hmm.
so she said, "I need to come home." She came home. She talked about how the grass was so high, but she said Dad was telling her he's cutting the grass still. She talked about how the room, you go into the house, it looked like it hasn't been cleaned. Dishes were old, and they were eating out food all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, she doesn't believe his hygiene and all those factors were actually being kept up as well. So she said, Norma, what do I do in this situation? And so I said, okay, your mother is in a skilled nursing facility right now. She's not only having support from the clinical team there, she also is on hospice. So she has two levels of support. I said, right there, I said, I know you're trying to pay, be attentive to your mom, but she has the support there. I would try to find means to see about your dad at home right now. So you can
Right.
be there for your mom at the same time, but if while you're here, let's figure out the home situation
Mm-hmm.
If you have to meet with an elder law attorney to find out the financial framework, if you have to meet with to take over, power of attorney, get those things in place for your dad as well. Do as much as possible to be able to make decisions for him in the state that he's in. I said because
Yeah.
and I shared with her some handyman services, lawn and care company providers that were in the area with her that she was able to vet, and some home cleaning companies as well. But
Mm.
I say all that to say that as we age, our parents age as well. A lot of times we move on, move away, and we have our own lives we're taken care of. And we have parents that, they're aging and they're going to always say, I'm doing fine, I'm good. But
Yeah.
in reality, they need help. They need help. And that was just a dynamic situation there that you never realize what people are going through. That really just stood out to me and how I was able to assist them with making those decisions during that time frame and
Mm.
sort of help them throughout the process. So it was very unique. I feel like.
Yeah. What a great support system. What a great help.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Looking to the future, what excites you the most about the direction of healthcare, right? For older adults, caregivers, what are you in and what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to healthcare finding a way to fund and find it reimbursable for the healthcare navigation piece
Mm.
realm because we're going to assisted living facilities, skilled nursing facilities, and even hospital care coordination team members. Like a lot of times, those individuals that are working in those settings, the caseload is so overwhelming, right? They're dealing with so many different family members with so many different dynamics that
Yeah.
they can't really provide that supportive, really personalized support, guidance wise, from a
Yeah.
directional standpoint for families that aren't prepared.
Right.
So think about a social worker, let's say a care coordinator in a hospital. They may be assigned to just take a random guess how many people that go to the hospital, how many cases that they're assigned to. Now, if a family is out in the community and they don't have the financial resources to maybe provide care that the cost to cover the cost out of ALF, what do? What are
Mm-hmm.
their next steps? Who's
Mm-hmm.
going to be there for them to guide them through that next step or that next process? When they don't, they don't have the familiarity with dealing with those type of things. Do they
Yeah.
know about setting up a trust? Do they understand the factors of how to protect their assets, their home, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Yeah.
do they know about Medicaid, the Medicaid process, and how to apply for Medicaid?
Right.
There's no right now at this certain point in time. There's no reimbursable aspect or in the government
Mm-hmm.
for services as such, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that middleman, so to speak, middleman, middle woman,
Yeah.
um, so to speak, isn't there unless you have the private funds, right?
Yeah.
Even home care services. Most time, these home care agencies are it's private duty. I guess so that means private pay as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there's really no unless you budget it correctly with your financial planning for that segment of life. There's really no really coverages out there. Not a lot of them. If there are many, I don't know about them to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can maybe share. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's part of it is piecing together what are all of those resources that exist that I could have access to that I don't even know about, and
hmm
having a support system to help us figure that out. Yeah, it's incredibly helpful. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The other piece that I'm looking forward to as well that is actually happening is the collaboration between different specialties.
Mm.
To see companies that are developing that have both nephrology and cardiology services and how they understand the dynamics of better patient outcomes by providing care together and strategically um, planning their healthcare practices around that. those things, those factors,
Yeah.
is good. To see that collaboration,
Mhm.
pain management, joining with a different type of specialties as well, with
Right.
addiction medicine, for instance. So
Yeah.
those are the things that I like about the future of healthcare, seeing more collaboration between different specialties to perform and
Yeah.
present better patient outcomes.
Right. That's so encouraging. So needed. So needed. Ah, this has been, oh my gosh, the hours like flown by, but I
I
cannot
know.
wait to tell people where can they find you, connect with you, learn from you. Where can we go?
Yes, yes, please. If you will subscribe to my YouTube channel on it's at the Let's Get Comfy podcast on YouTube. You follow me there, subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell as well. Also on Facebook and Instagram, I've got Comfort Measures Consulting. You can find me on LinkedIn, Norman Harris Jr. That's me. Uh, bald, bald head on there. Uh, and what else? Oh yeah, and my website. Can't forget that. www.comfortmeasuresconsulting.com. That's me. That's the place to find me, and I always post my phone number. I have to block a lot of spam
I
calls
was
because
gonna
of that, by
say
the way.
that's
But
very brave of you.
yeah, I post it. Because I know people know that I can block you, so it is what it is. I don't.
Yeah, if they're
And
not doing all the right things, yeah, for sure.
right, yeah, that's what. Yeah, of course, because that's what I mean. That's what, and I don't think people gonna, call for a serious matter and play
Right.
with that. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah, and I want to present accessibility to people because it's really what I am. Like I really can. You want to call somebody and just talk and be a candid conversation down to earth. That's what I'm presenting to you.
Mhm. So cool. Well, thank you. Well, again, always enjoy our visits and conversation. I appreciate your perspective and I'm excited to, yeah, share with everybody else. So thank you for your time this Saturday morning. Thank you for listening today. If you enjoyed our episode, please subscribe and give us 5 stars. In all honesty, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening to our episode.